Dhruva's mom offered him some empathy, just embraced him and felt with him the pain that he was feeling. She cried along with him. Her heart was burning just as his heart was burning. It's very natural for a mother. So some of you are mothers here, or even fathers, and you saw your son go through that experience. What would you want to do? What's your first reaction? What's that?
Fix it somehow.
You want to fix it? Yeah, somehow. Pacify him. Yeah. He's pacified to some degree. What do you want to do next?
Hear from them.
Hear from him?
Yes.
That's good. That's beautiful, yeah.
Blame
Blame the father. Yeah, that guy doesn't care about me, that little rascal. I don't know why I married him. It was an arranged marriage after all. Here's what she did. What an exemplary statement. So we'll read this together. Or I'll recite, you can read after me. Ma mangalam tata pareshu mamsta. Bhumte jano yat paradhukkadasta. Oh, that's all I had. Okay. My dear son, don't wish for anything unauspicious for others. That's the first thing. Is she brought for him emotional intelligence because she wanted to self-regulate. So you remember the 5 items of emotional intelligence? One of them was self-regulation, which we know that he was saying a lot earlier, right? She first tried to regulate him, bring him, to some sense of control of his emotion. Don't blast and don't think and don't villainize the other person. Stop right there. Regulate yourself a little bit. And you need to do that. For a boy, as a mother, it's important to sort of help them manage their emotions, because children sometimes don't know how to manage their own emotions. Yeah? And then this is beautiful. Anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffers from that pain. This can be seen in 2 ways. Number one, it can be seen from the perspective of Dhruva. She's telling Dhruva, if you start to get back or have vengeance or have this resentment towards your father and your stepmother, whatever you do or say is going to come back and bite you. So be careful. It can also be seen that she's speaking about the stepmother. She's trying to make Dhruva understand this very common phrase that we learn in America: hurt people hurt people. You get it? Hurt people hurt people. Those who have pain themselves naturally inflict pain on others. There's another nice verse in the Gita. This is one of my favorite verses, which says, Atma paumena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sa yogi paramo mataha. So this is the 6th chapter of the Gita, where Krishna explains that Atma aupamyena. Aupamyena means to measure. So measuring others based on our own experience of happiness and distress. And then from that, one can be equal to everyone. So if we have gone through our own self-introspection and understood our own needs and our feelings and our own weaknesses and struggles in life, then it's very natural to look at others and empathize with their pain. This is what Krishna says. Someone who can do that is the highest yogi. So based on our own experience of happiness and distress, we can empathize with the happiness and distress of another. This is a nice statement I wrote here. If I've done, listen to this. If I've done the hard work of heart work and recognize my own distresses due to my own brokenness or weakness, because each one of us are broken. We have a material body. That shows that we have brokenness within. It's a flag to say we're broken within. that if we recognize our own brokenness, our own weaknesses, and we have accepted and we can work on it, then if we've done this hard work of heart work, then we'll be able to approach another with empathy despite despicable behavior. That's where emotional intelligence kicks in, which is the foundation is spirituality. So then she goes on to advise him, my dear boy, you should take shelter of the Supreme, who is very kind to his devotees. Person seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the Supreme in your heart, and without deviating for a moment, always engage in his service. She didn't tell him, don't get angry. She didn't stop the emotion. Sometimes we tell children, don't cry. That's not helpful. Because you're suppressing emotions. Suppressing emotions is not helpful. It's like putting, anyone seen beach balls? When you push beach balls down underwater and you try to hold them down, what happens after a while? They bounce back up. It comes out in different ways. You know, suppressed emotion comes out as diseases. So yeah, you know, to tell a child don't cry is not the right. She didn't tell her son, don't cry, don't get angry. She just told him don't inflict pain on another person. She said don't like express it in the wrong way. What she is now taking, the energy that Dhruva has, this fire in his heart, because he's Shatra, he's feeling this anger, he's feeling this shame, he's feeling this willpower to make a difference. He doesn't want to be a victim of the situation. He wants to use his energy, and she's now channeling his energy. That's what we should do. In fact, the Bhagavatam talks about this. Whatever emotions you have, direct those emotions to Krishna. Don't suppress the emotions. Direct them to Krishna. So she's now telling him, take that energy you have and serve Krishna. So Dhruva, even though he's 5 years old and in a very tough situation, and even without his mother, he was ready to go to the forest. Can you believe that? You're 11 years old. Can you go to the forest now? Without your mom and dad? He was 5 years old. He didn't even take his toothbrush. So this method of being able to channelize the emotion is a craft, is an art, and she did it. She's a master. She's quite a master devotee, a master counselor. Alright, so Dhruva goes to the forest, and there he meets the ideal coach. Somebody said they were the coach? Okay, so we learn from Narada, the gold standard coach. So, when Dhruva comes here in the forest, Narada somehow knows where people are. And he found Dhruva. And so with Dhruva, he says, Dhruva, you're a little boy. Why do you want to go to the forest? You're attached to playing and having fun. Hey, so what? Somebody says something mean to you, forget it. Do you remember what I said mean to you earlier? You forgot it now. No, they're children, just play around, forget it. Not important. Why are you so affected by this honor thing? So that's the first thing he tells him. He saw it wasn't working. Then he said, Dhruva, if you feel your sense of honor is insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction, because the entire thing is illusory. This experience you had with your stepmother, it was here today, gone tomorrow. It's illusion. It's just illusion. So he says, one who is intelligent should accept that process of being detached, and be satisfied with whatever comes. Favorable or unfavorable by Supreme Will. I was studying Bhagavatam this morning, and some of you may have studied this section on Avadut Brahman, the story where Krishna is teaching Uddhava about the Avadut Brahman and his 24 gurus. That Avadut Brahman has one guru who is the ocean. And the ocean is a lot of qualities, a lot of similarities to a saintly person. But one of the similarities is that as rivers gush into the ocean, or the rivers are dry and nothing comes to the ocean's level and the ocean's fullness doesn't change. Like that, Narada is telling Dhruva, be like the ocean. Just be satisfied. These things will come and go. Don't get caught up in the temporary situation. And then finally, he saw Dhruva is not accepting, and he could see his facial expression. Then he gave the last try. He said, look, Dhruva, you wanting to find Vishnu in this forest is really difficult, man. It's really difficult. Many sages have tried and tried and tried for years, and they still have not found Dhruva. Still haven't found Krishna. Forget it. It's not going to happen. It's a lost cause. How did Dhruva respond? Now I want to sort of bring out some few things about emotional intelligence here. Dhruva, there's a power differential. Okay? What if Narad Muni comes and tells you, just go play, you don't have to do any homework? There's a power differential. There's especially again in Eastern cultures, when you have this power differential of someone more superior and someone that's more junior, there's a natural inclination to just listen. Not only there's spiritual difference, there's age-wise tremendous amount of difference between the two. Dhruva didn't do something called spiritual bypassing. You know what spiritual bypassing is? Is where you pretend to be on a platform you're not. He was very much in touch with his motivations, and he said, Narada, I trust what you're saying is right. What you are saying is true, I agree with you, but I can't follow it, doesn't touch my heart. I can't do it. I have this strong fire in me, and this fire is not able to subside. I've got to channelize it, I've got to do something with it. And my mother's advised me, so I'm requesting you, please help me find Vishnu. And Narada says, I was just testing you. So, oops, sorry. So Narada gives him this beautiful mantra. Let's say it together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namaha. Namaha means to pay obeisance to. Bhagavate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudevaya, the all-pervading son of Vasudev, Krishna. This mantra is a very powerful mantra. And is a mantra of that age, of the age of Satya Yuga, that Dhruva was given. And he was given this direction. Use your internal fire, your passion, in searching for and realizing Krishna through this mantra. So going back to the needs hierarchy, well, maybe I'll talk about that later. So we know the story. Dhruva was in the forest for 6 months. Every month, his austerities became worse. 1 month he was only eating fruits and roots. The next month he ate every 3 days. The next month he was breathing every 3 days. And then he got to breathing only every 12 days. I mean, he was intense yogi. His determination was unmatched. Anyway, the story is very detailed. I won't get into it too much. But he got to a point where he was feeling so full within his heart. Through this mantra meditation, he experienced Krishna within his heart. He was feeling happy and joyful and complete. Even though he was lonely in the forest, he was not lonely. So remember, he was feeling lonely in the midst of his family. Here he's feeling not lonely while he's alone in the forest. Very interesting, no? Why? Because now he is directed within, he finds Krishna within, And then Krishna comes outside. He has his darshan, he offers beautiful prayers, because first he couldn't speak, he was so moved, his heart was so touched, but then Lord Vishnu put his shankha on his head, and then Dhruva offers us beautiful, beautiful prayers, saying, and then Vishnu gave him some benediction, saying that you will now become king of the world. For many, many years, you'll have a greater kingdom than your great-grandfather. And he's like, oh, no, I didn't want it. I have you now. So he said, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but now I have diamond. Right? What were his needs back when he was hurt and his mother redirected him to the forest? What was his needs that were unfulfilled, that led to those feelings of anger, shame, loneliness, pain, betrayal? What was his needs? Love and belonging. What else? Esteem. He wanted to be accomplished. He wanted respect. He wanted status. And he wanted freedom to make the choice of sitting on his father's lap. Damn, I'm his son. Right? And he wanted love and belonging, which he wasn't getting. And now, what does he have? His need for self-actualization was fulfilled. And what happened to these other needs? They subsided. Yeah? So when he came back, his mother received him with great joy and affection. His stepmother also received him with joy and affection. Dhruva didn't have 1 ounce, not 1 trace of resentment left in his heart. Just by going away for 6 months and coming back. Sometimes when we have very strong emotions, take a break. It's important. It gives you some space to think about things. There's a devotee couple that teaches, that helps couples how to improve their relationships. And one of the things that they say, the 5-step formula, the first step is take a pause. Drop the flame, take a pause, kind of, separate. But there are other ways too. Distancing oneself is one way. Another way is journaling. How many of you journal? Yeah, that's very good. What happens is when you have strong emotions and you journal them, whether they're positive or negative, you journal them, you distance yourself from the emotion, you're able to see the emotion is not you. And the emotion loses its grip on you. So that's one. Another way is by finding someone to talk to about it. And being able to express your emotions in a safe environment where someone can listen with empathy. Because that allows the emotions now to subside. Right? And one can live more progressive lives. So, that's what happened with Dhruva. No hurt feelings. And now we're coming close to the end here. I would like that we reflect in small groups, if that's okay. Is that okay? Do we have time for 7 minutes of reflection? Can we split up into groups of 3? Find 2 other people that you want to talk to and hear the questions. Number 1, identify personalities in the story with the drama triangle. How did mantra meditation help Dhruva? How would you describe the role of a coach in one's emotional or spiritual maturity? And then finally, what do you want to take away from this time that we've spent? We've spent 1 hour together. What do you want to take away from this 1 hour that we spent together so it's not a waste of 1 hour? Okay? Most important is you can start with the last one and then you can go up. Because we have limited time. We may not be able to get to everything. So maybe you can focus on the last one and the first one. Okay? Alright, get into groups of find 2 other people and I'll ring the bell in about 7 to 10 minutes and then we'll discuss. Hare Krishna.
I want to take the recorded video. Take a.